Uzman Coin'den herkese merhabalar. Yeni bir programla sizlerle birlikteyiz. Yeni bir konukla ve tabii ki yabancı bir konukla. Biliyorsunuz yabancı konukları son dönemde kripto dünyasının içindeki konuklarımızı almaya devam ediyoruz. Ve tabii ki aslında çok önemli konular, sizlerin de beğeneceği konular. Onu da belirtelim. Son dönemin en çok konuşulan programlarından birisi CyberConnect'ti. Biliyorsunuz merkeziyetsiz bir sosyal medya uygulaması. Tabii merkeziyetsiz sosyal medya uygulaması ne demek? Bu iş nereye gidiyor? Bunların hepsini geçtiğimiz haftalarda yaptığımız röportajlarda konuştuk. Yine değineceğiz ama tabii ki CyberConnect projesinin önemli isimlerinden biriyle de bugün birlikteyiz. Yine kendisi bizlerle uzun süredir temas halindeydi. Yilan bizlerle birlikte olacak. Bakalım bize CyberConnect hakkında neler anlatacak? Tabii Bitcoin'i soracağım. Genel kripto dünyası içindeki konuları da konuşacağız. Çok fazla uzun tutmayacağız podcast'i. Hızlı hızlı gideceğiz. O yüzden çok da sıkılmayacağınızı umuyorum. Ama tabii ki İngilizce yapacağız. Altyazıları da yine Uzman Coin farkıyla sizlerle birlikte olacak. Hemen başlayalım röportajımıza. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. How did you find Istanbul? Let's start with Turkey. Was it your first time? What did you expect? What did you find?
Yeah, like this is my first time in Istanbul, also in Turkey, and I found it fascinating. I mean, I knew for a long time that this is a very cultural rich region, in between, Asia and Europe, and a lot of history. But I didn't know, that everything is so close by and everything is like so tangible. You can really touch the history right away. And also about the crypto community, I think it's very active here. Everyone we met was super friendly and super excited about what we're building. And with our community, with our partners, with our projects, partners as well, and they are all very excited about what we're going to do, and so we're very looking forward to working together furthermore.
Yes, as you said, there is a very growing community, crypto community in Turkey. It's growing every day, every year. Even it's a bear season. The crypto community is always active in social media, in normal life. So let's start with CyberConnect. I mean, we've made an interview, of course. We put it in our YouTube channel. So there's a lot of answers in that interview, but I also wanted to, of course, ask you some questions. So there was an AI boom just like, a few months ago. Now it's the decentralized social media boom, right? There's a lot of, applications, a lot of projects, and CyberConnect is one of them. So what do you offer to people? Because, Twitter and Instagram are the biggest, the social media applications right now, and they are centralized, and people, they have a lot of problems. Yeah. With this, there was, for example, an X account in Twitter. Yeah. They took it from him. Yeah. So, I mean, what's the importance of decentralized social media? Are we not going to see these things, for example, in CyberConnect?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and especially at the very great timing as well. But first I have to say this kind of event actually happened not just once, it happened a lot of times in history already. Mm-hmm. And we see this kind of like little booms, like some different projects coming up and with a lot of attention from the market, from the media. That happens a lot, in the past few years also. And it's becoming more and more frequent. I think that's a very good sign of how people are like very actively anticipating something that is going to be better. Even though as you said, like Instagram or Twitter or X are still one of the very biggest in the whole world, and people are still using it. But at the same time, people are really looking forward to something that is a little different. And that's why every time when something happens, something bad happens with the old platforms, or something new happens, coming up to the market, people are so excited to try it out. Yeah. That's because people are so desperately needing something new. And as you mentioned, there's some problems with the big ones already, and you mentioned something very pertinent, especially the account one. So basically, in the previous or maybe current, social media platforms or social media, companies or applications, the key thing is that you don't own your data, you don't own your identity or account. So that's also why whenever some rules change on the platforms or by those centralized companies, you basically have no say. You basically have no control of your identity. And as I mentioned, when Twitter changed to X and they basically took out the X account. And that happened before when Instagram and when Facebook, changed to Meta, and they took out Meta account on Instagram as well. And those accounts has been there for a long time, and they have their own, community, their own followers. Basically, that's their own livelihood, and that basically, just got wiped out right away whenever those changes happen. So that control, the lack of control, is really a big problem for users, especially for creators like influencers, KOLs on those platforms, because they really need to own their community. They need to really have those connections with the community. Whenever that happens, they lose their life in a way. And it's very, very hard for them to migrate to different platforms because they don't own those connections.
Yes.
And with the new generation of social media or social network protocols, such as CyberConnect, we're enabling people, users or creators, to really own their identity, their accounts, their connections, their content, so they can move freely from this application to that application without losing all those identity, account, and content and connection. And so that will really give the freedom for them to switch. And so they can really directly connect with their communities and benefit from the community without any intermediaries in the middle. That's on the user side, and also very quickly on the developer side, that also works, helps a lot. So if you really think about the current landscape of social media with the dominating powers from Instagram, Meta, and also Twitter and something like that, it's super, super hard for the newcomers to come up with a new idea of social media application. Even though it's better, because they don't have the bargaining power, they don't have the network effect of the existing communities. So it will be very, very hard for them to bootstrap their network. And during this bootstrapping, co-starting process, the big companies will be very easy just to copy and paste and to shut them down. So that really stifles and really discourage the new innovations coming up from the social media platforms. And that in the end is not just for the developers or for the for the entrepreneurs, but it's also going to be very harmful for the users in the end, because people are not going to be able to receive and those new innovative social media features. So I think those are the two-sided problems of the Web 2 or maybe the current social media. And that's how exactly we are trying to tap into there, and also to help bring that new generation.
So I mean, decentralization maybe started with maybe Bitcoin. I don't know what's your opinion about this, but so it has become so important, and it's becoming more and more important every day. So what's the connection between CyberConnect and crypto? If I have a CyberConnect account, for example, how am I going to use tokens or any other cryptocurrencies? What am I going to see about this?
Yeah, that's a rare question, but I think that's a good one, because after all, Web3 is based on cryptocurrency and cryptography. As you said, the real decentralization, the real tech, the real trend of decentralization really started with Bitcoin, because it's so good for processing payments, and also really using providing an alternative monetary system to the collapsing or maybe the dysfunctioning one, for example in Turkey, right? And that really gains a lot of attention. So people really start to use Bitcoins and use cryptocurrency for decentralized society, decentralized communications. But I have to say, decentralization actually started way back, maybe even in the 90s or 80s. That was basically the original vision of the whole web, the internet. The internet or the web, World Wide Web at the time was designed to be as decentralized as possible. So everyone is a node, and everyone is connected around the whole world. There's no central server, there's no central platform that controls everything. But it was just by the development of the market and also the tech that we had we had to go on a detour outside of the real vision in Web 2 in order to have better services and better experiences. Because at the time we didn't have the tech to enable both the better experiences and the real ownership and the decentralization at the same time. So we, we kind of did a compromise, and then here we are again, with cryptocurrency and also Bitcoin and Ethereum or the L2s. Back to the question about CyberConnect. So CyberConnect itself is a social network protocol, decentralized social network protocol, which is based on the EVM chains. It's a multi-chain now, but mostly now still on EVM. But maybe later we'll go to other non-EVM ones. So it's still based on the chains, and it's wallet or DID based. So basically, by having a Cyber account or being part of CyberConnect, you are still utilizing those blockchains for decentralization and for real ownership of your data, of your identity. So you still have that wallet address, your key pairs, and that's how you control your identity and also your other assets. So in a way, your identity or social account becomes part of your assets, just like some other tokens. So with that, basically you are kind of combine the cryptocurrency, the crypto Bitcoin, Ethereum, those kind of trading side of it, together with the social identity account side of it. So under one single address, or maybe later with the Cyber account, your DID, you will see everything all together. So it's not just about trading or financial part of anymore, but actually also financial plus social plus gaming plus other real use cases.
So let's turn back to the real world and let's talk about a little bit cryptocurrencies and what's happening around it. For example, a few days ago, Grayscale won a critical victory against SEC. and some people were expecting, but it started last year. And if you ask a person, if you go back to last year and ask a person, can SEC lose this war? People would say no, I think. Yeah. Now they won it, and it's a huge victory. What do you think about it? Did you expect such a victory from a cryptocurrency, company, not just like Grayscale, but an American, United States, a government official? They lost a critical, they lost a big thing against a cryptocurrency company. What do you think about this?
To be honest, I don't think, at least me, I didn't expect this. I think nobody can really predict the market, especially those kind of a huge critical kind of events in the market. So I didn't. And I thought it's gonna be more in the long way, there's gonna be a lot of battles between those centralized governments, especially in the U.S., maybe in China, the big ones, between them and the cryptocurrencies and also the Web3 world. But at the same time, I feel like in the long term, I've always been very optimistic and very believing in the future of Web3, because Web3 is not just about financial. It's not just about allowing a small amount of people earning a lot of money, or maybe making everything into a gambling casino, so people can have some skyrocketing price performance, but at the same time losing a lot of money. That's not the whole point of Web3 or whole point of cryptocurrency or decentralization. Again, back to what we were talking about in the very beginning, it's more about delivering better experiences to the users, and at the same time letting the users and everyone own their data, own their identity in the long run. And exactly kind of going back to the original vision of the web, how people can be connected together, how people can come together to do great things without all those tech complexities, all those arbitrary rules by the platforms. So that's the original vision, and that's way bigger than just financial part of it. Yes. And that's going to be so influential, beneficial, and also all-encompassing with everyday life of our a modern society and especially digital society. So in the long run, sooner or later, Web3 or crypto is going to be confronting or getting conversations with all the existing established governments, financial system, entertainment system, or even property system, everything nowadays in our whole world. So sooner or later, they're going to be in conversation. And if we really agree that decentralization and also this decentralized way of doing things is going to be better for the users, for the people, that's going to be the ultimate goal. And how do we reach there is a matter of, sometimes it's lawsuits. More importantly, it's going to be about conversations, negotiations. So sooner or later, we'll be talking to the government, to the legal institutions, to the commercial institutions about this, and find a way in the middle and for the better of the whole society. So as long as we believe in that vision, and that's sooner or later going to come. So I'm very optimistic about how we're going to turn out in that way.
So, as you said, there will be more maybe lawsuits in the future. There will be more institutions getting into it. There will be more companies like, BlackRock, big companies, maybe small companies getting into the crypto. But at the same time, how do you see Bitcoin around this? Do you think that Bitcoin will still be in the center of all the things, all the, decentralization things? Because, there are lots of lawsuits. There are always discussions, but nobody talks badly about Bitcoin. SEC don't say anything bad about Bitcoin. Yeah. The other companies, of course, they don't say anything. Any government institution, even in Turkey, maybe in China, I don't know, but they banned it, of course, but they don't say that it's, something bad or something. The other cryptocurrencies, I don't know. They can talk about it. We can talk about, of course, CyberConnect also, but how do you see Bitcoin in the center of all this discussion?
That's a major question.
And the answer will be something long, but I prefer shorter answer, please.
Yeah, and some people have been talking about this since the very beginning, and there's huge debates and fights every day on the social media. No financial advice, but very personal opinion on this. I think Bitcoin is going to be still in the center for a long time and always, because it's not just a medium of exchange or just a monetary system, but it's actually it's more like a symbol of decentralization right now. Because it's so pure and just so authentic and it's so decentralized from the bottom. And so people have the faith in that decentralization in it. And that's also why there's a very few lawsuits or disputes against it, because it's already so decentralized. Yes. There's no way, almost no way for you to really to corrupt it, or there's no way for you to really to do something bad against it. I mean, of course, there are lot of trade-offs, right? It's slow, it's expensive, but at the same time, that's the ideal of decentralization. Yes. So it has always have to be there, and it will always be there as a kind of like a lighthouse, like North Star for people to think about in terms of decentralization. But in practice, many people try out different things on the spectrum of decentralization and scalability and also security, right? They're trying to find a better, use case for the real use case, better use case for the real, real scenarios. But at the same time, you always use Bitcoin as a, as a reference. Yes. So it will always be there, and I'm very happy that we have that here. That's also because it's going to be a very good reminder of why we're doing this and how we are, trying to get closer to that idea.
Yeah. Mr. Yilan, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Evet, bir podcast'imizin, bir yayınımızın daha sonuna geldik. CyberConnect'ten Yilan bizlerle birlikteydi. Tabii çok daha fazla soracağımız soru var. Yani onun cevapları da muhtemelen çok daha uzun olurdu ama zaman yok. Dolayısıyla biraz daha hızlı, biraz daha kısa tutmaya çalıştık ama umarım güzel bir yayın izlemişsinizdir. Teşekkür ediyoruz. Bir sonraki programda özel konuklarla ve özel konularla sizlerle birlikte olmaya devam edeceğiz. Herkese iyi seyirler.